Trump's new trade war with the EU, a high-stakes battle. Old habits die hard. And when it comes to former President Donald Trump and his passion for a trade war, this saying couldn't be more fitting. This time, his sights are set on the European Union, and the economic battlefield is heating up fast. Tariffs, retaliations, and complex trade policies are making headlines once again, leaving businesses and consumers bracing for impact. If you thought Trump's America First agenda was a thing of the past, think again. It's back, and so is his hardball approach to international trade. Trump, now back in the White House, has decided that the EU needs a fresh lesson in the art of the deal. And this deal? It involves imposing hefty tariffs on everything from steel to automobiles. But the Europeans aren't the type to back down, setting the stage for another intense transatlantic trade war. Buckle up. This is one economic showdown where the only real winners might just be the trade lawyers cashing in on the chaos. The beginning of a new trade dispute. Let's rewind to January 2025, a time when the world was still navigating the aftershocks of political upheavals and economic uncertainties. Fresh off his return to power, Trump made a dramatic appearance at the World Economic Forum, a stage he used not for diplomacy, but for a direct attack on the EU's trade policies, regulations, and even defense spending. His words were sharp, his tone unwavering, and his message clear. The EU had been taking advantage of the U.S. for too long. World leaders reacted with a mix of disapproval and restraint, some visibly irritated, while others remained diplomatic. But the real fireworks began shortly after. On February 10th, Trump made his first major move, a 25% tariff on steel imports and an increase in aluminum tariffs to the same rate. The decision sent shockwaves through industries, and just to make matters worse, these tariffs specifically targeted the EU, coming into effect on March 12th, just in time to disrupt trade, travel, and tourism as the spring season began. But Trump wasn't done yet. An escalation in the trade war. Determined to keep the pressure on, Trump announced additional tariffs on February 18th, extending the 25% levy to a range of European exports, including cars, pharmaceuticals, and high-tech semiconductors, essential components of modern electronics. The impact was immediate. Prices for everyday goods began to rise. Industries faced supply chain disruptions, and economic uncertainty loomed large. And then came the most unpredictable move of all. On February 26th, Trump played a game of good cop, bad cop of the world. He hinted that Canada and Mexico might get a break from these tariffs, a strategic move to keep North American allies close. But in the same breath, he floated the idea of slapping a 25% tariff on all EU goods. The world watched in confusion, trying to decipher Trump's next move in this high-stakes game of economic chess. Why is Trump doing this? So, what's Trump's real agenda? Is it just about making headlines? Or is there a deeper strategy at play? The answer lies in a mix of national pride, economic ambition, and political theater. 1. National security concerns. Trump's administration argues that relying on foreign steel weakens U.S. defense capabilities. According to them, cheap European steel poses a national security threat, as it makes the country vulnerable in times of conflict. While some experts see this as a flimsy excuse, it's a card the administration is willing to play. 2. Economic revival. Trump believes these tariffs will revive American manufacturing, making domestic steel production more competitive. However, economists have long argued that tariffs often backfire, leading to higher consumer prices and job losses in industries that rely on imported materials. 3. Unfair trade practices. Trump insists that the EU has been exploiting the U.S. through unfair trade practices, and that these tariffs are a way to level the playing field. However, critics point out that the U.S. itself enforces protectionist policies, making this argument somewhat hypocritical. The EU fights back. The European Union isn't sitting idle. They've made it clear, if the U.S. escalates, they'll retaliate. And their response? A 25% tariff on key American exports. But they're being strategic about it. Instead of imposing random tariffs, the EU is targeting products that hit the U.S. economy where it hurts. Bourbon, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and major agricultural goods. These are not just economic targets. They are symbols of American culture and industry. The message is clear. The EU knows exactly where to apply pressure, and they're playing this by the book. Unlike Trump's unilateral approach, the EU is ensuring that all its moves comply with the World Trade Organization, WTO, rules. This is not just about retaliating. It's about winning the battle of global legitimacy, the global economic fallout. The stakes are enormous. The EU has calculated the damage, estimating that these tariffs could cost them 28 billion euros, roughly $9.3 billion USD. This is not just a short-term economic setback. It's a hit that will ripple across industries and economies worldwide. But it's not just the EU and the US feeling the heat. The entire global economy is at risk. Trade wars don't happen in isolation. They impact supply chains, investment flows, and market stability. When two of the world's largest economies go head-to-head, the consequences extend far beyond their borders. What's next? The future of US-EU trade remains uncertain. Will both sides reach a compromise, or will this conflict continue to escalate? Businesses and governments alike are on edge, bracing for what comes next. One thing is for sure, this trade war is not just about economics. It's a high-stakes political drama with global consequences, and the world is watching.